Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Ordinance Subcommittee. Today is Tuesday, March 9, 7 p.m. Members present, my Vice Chair, Councilor Maria de la Cruz, Councilor at Large, Selena Reyes, and Councilor District C, Jorge Gonzalez. Pursuant to the Governor Baker, March 12, 2020, order suspended certain provision of the open meeting law, general law, section 38, chapter 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020, order imposing a strict limitation on the number of people that might gathering in one place. This meeting is being conducted via remote participation. Not in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access to proceeding as provided for in the order. A reminder that the person who would like to listen to view this meeting while in progress may do use of any of the following access locations: Facebook Lawrence City Council page and YouTube Lawrence City Council page. Roll call.
Okay, roll call. Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Present.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Present.
Councilor Maria and Chair of the committee, Stella Reyes.
Present.
Thank you.
Councilor, I'm going to be taking a couple of items out of order. The first one is going to be, I'm looking for a motion to take document 40-21 out of order. The motion has been made properly. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Okay, roll call to take document 40-20 out of order. Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chairwoman Stella Reyes.
Yes,
Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you. Document 40-21, an ordinance to require that the naming of any city-owned public way and or public property must be approved by resolution by the city council. It has been put on the agenda by Council President LaPlante, who is present, and he is going to elaborate a little bit more about this item.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and Vice President. I appreciate this. What was surprising to me is we've been doing some naming of parks and bridges and schools, and there's no ordinances that actually provide any kind of pathway on how we should be doing it. And so there's this whole hodgepodge of different times when a mayor will do it without the city council approval and put a rock here or a bench here or a name here, or the council will do it. Sometimes they get involved, but there was really no consistency with respect to how we go about and name something. It was all over the map. So what this item is about is to provide some guidance and some direction and some consistency in how we do that. So the idea here is, and I wanted this to be amended a little bit, and there's two ways that I would like for this to be amended, because I had a chance to talk to the previous mayor who served for 7 years, as you know, and wanted to get some insights from him as to how this played out. But I think, number one, the first thing I think is that this should come from the mayor's office initially. The mayor needs to have some buy-in. That's number one. And send something down, whether it's a park or a bench or anything, to go ahead and send that to us. And it's going to be a resolution, not an ordinance. So we're not putting something in our laws. We're just resolving that this is a name for whatever it is that we're looking to name. So the first request that I would have to this is to have it initiated by the mayor. The second thing is, I think it's already on there, is it's a resolution. And the third thing that I would encourage is that when I first wrote this, it was basically for city properties, right? Or buildings or a land or a bridge. But since I put it on within the last 10 days, another issue has come up, and I think we could tie it neatly into this. There was an individual who wanted to see a bench in one of the parks and have a plaque on that bench. And this seems to me to be another opportunity for us to have some sort of consistency. There's the Walter Palmer bench on the Mount Vernon Street that was done by the city council, and there's other benches and rocks that the council was not involved. So I would expand that to not just the buildings and all that, but even to something like a plaque to put that on. They were all in agreement, the mayor and the city council, that the person that we're looking to honor meets whatever our criteria is, and what could be important to you may be different to me, or we may agree, but we need to come collectively and have a vote on whatever it is that we think is worthy of designation. So that's simply what I'm looking for in this. So three changes, if we could, maybe just two big ones, the mayor, and then expanding it to not just properties, but also to plaques and things that do namings on our properties. And that's the item.
Okay, so I do have a question for you. My understanding is that every time we have to do such a name, or I mean, any park, any benches, it have to go through the city council. So that is no.
I wasn't able to find it, Madam Chair. I mean, I looked for it. I couldn't find anything that dealt with naming rights to that, which explains why there's inconsistencies with different administrations. Not only with administrations, but even an individual administration may decide to go to the council on one thing and not on the other. And but that's been my understanding. I've been on the forefront of this World War I stuff and all the different signs throughout the city and all that. And that was my understanding and my belief. But come to find out, when I was looking for it, because something came up and I couldn't find it, I'm thinking, this is crazy. So we need to, there's a loophole there, or there's something missing. And I just think we should tighten it up.
Do we have any ordinance in place that we can attach or add this resolution, that in the future we have a mayor now, so we don't know who's going to come in after, that we can be saved at least on that portion?
I don't know if I understand. So what I'm proposing here is an ordinance, and the ordinance requires a resolution for each naming. Does that answer the question?
So do we have something in place as an ordinance that does have to be the way?
That's the reason for this proposal. It seems to be that there's nothing there. It would be nice to get the city attorneys once over on this as well, just to make sure, but I don't believe there is.
Okay, so will you feel, before I handed the floor to any of my colleagues or members, that they might have a question for you? Do you feel comfortable that we send this to our city attorney just to kind of review and just to kind of give us an idea before we continue moving forward? Because I'm agree with you. I'm on the same page. I think we all need to know, and it's like you just expressed a few minutes ago. So it might be important for me. That doesn't mean that it's not important for you, but at least you can be aware, you can be told. And if you want to be part of, like I remember that you used to do that in the past. So you invited the city council, and when someone comes to us, at least we have an idea of what we are talking about. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just find constriction in the street and say, oh, I saw, this and this name in this park, and I didn't know. So sometimes we don't know. I don't know. So that's something that is going to be saved. So let me just ask if any other members has any question for you. No question?
Yes.
Okay. Councilor Gonzalez.
I was involved in, like Councilor President said, that put a name on the bench in the park. One person I did a couple years ago, and went through the city council. I mean, what he wants is something writing on the charter or I understand the point, but like Madam Chair, Vice Chair, you say, Chair, they have to be approved by the city council. Anything that you ask, any community that you ask for name a person on the put a plaque in the bench, they have to be approved by the city council. How that will happen?
President, do you have an answer for that?
Through you, Madam Chair, I think the counselor is making the point. There's an understanding and a belief that's unfounded, apparently, in my understanding and looking through this that's the custom. And it's customary that we do that. And I, like everybody else probably in this meeting tonight, thought that this is the way that it had to go. But in reality, it hasn't been that way, because there have been times when things have gone without the council's approval and it hasn't been clear. And so all we're doing right here is not a charter change, but an ordinance change. It doesn't require a charter change. So we're looking to create an ordinance that will allow for this. And of course, an ordinance change will require a public hearing. So, but I think that my colleague is right. I mean, that's our understanding. We thought we had to go to the council if we wanted to move something. But now with this ordinance, what the belief will now be a requirement.
Which is what I was asking you first about if this is going to be a resolution, or that's going to be a piece of, or it's going to be an ordinance. If it was something in place that we just have to revisit, or how do you think we might have to? It's going to be a resolution, or it's going to be an ordinance?
So for this purpose, and I understand why that might be not confusing, but there may be some, I may need to explain it a little bit better. This is an ordinance. The ordinance will be, if it's passed by you and by the full council, the ordinance will be any future naming, whether it's a bench, school, park, whatever, needs to start with a resolution by the mayor to us. But that's in the future. What we're going to deal with now is setting up the framework, the rules. The rule is, if we do this, the rule will be in the future, send it down to us, Mayor, what you want to see happen, and we'll vote on it. Or yes or no, by a resolution. But this will be an ordinance. Is that clear, or am I still muddying the waters?
Oh, no, very clear. So,
Okay.
Any other question?
I've raised my hand.
Okay, Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes, Councilor President, I see a conflict in this resolution. What about if the individuals are paying for their equipment, for whatever they wanted to put in place? That is not the city hall paying for that. Do they still need an ordinance that it says whoever is going to put a plaque, whatever place, you will have to have the permission from the city councilor, even though that they will pay for what they're using?
The answer is yes, and let me explain. You would think that we would have nothing to do with it if someone's paying out of their own pocket for it, right? That would make some sense. No public monies, no government, no city council requirements. However, I will say this. If we decide that's our tact, this is public property. This is a public park. It will be a public bench that is been, if they're paying for it, it is being given to the city. They do not have custody of this bench anymore because it is a gift to the city. So because of that, we would want to have some sort of not restraints, but approval rights. What happens if some crazy crackpot organization just decides they want to put something on our common? And we don't have a say? You think about the most foul thing you can possibly think of that constitutionally they may have a right to do, but just think about that organization that you hate says, I'm going to put something on your common and I'm going to pay for it. no, we want to have some say in that. No, it's going to come from the mayor and it's going to come from us. We're going to have a public discussion about it. And then we'll decide whether or not we want to have it there. So that's why, even though what you're suggesting, maybe a group that we like, and we say, yeah, just go ahead and put it there. What happens when it comes to a group that we don't like? So we need to be consistent in the approach.
I think you're very right, because yes, it is happening at this moment. And sometimes people don't understand that it is the process, that it has to go through the council and to be approved. I think we should have something in place. I agree with you. Thank you.
If there's no any further question, I'm calling for a motion to send it to the city attorney for the final draft.
Make a motion.
Second. And the motion has been made. Before we continue with the motion, I just want to ask the author if that would be enough for us to cover.
I would just ask again that it be amended to make sure that, because my document does not say that it comes from the mayor. I would like for it to be amended to say that it's coming from there. I think whoever the mayor is needs to work with the council, and there needs to be some buy-in. So that's number one. And then I want to expand that not only to maybe even a bench, or the attorney could be more artful in its description, but all encompassing. I want it to be broad. So if you can include that as part of your amendment, part of an amendment of that, that would be helpful, I think, to the city attorney.
Councilor Gonzalez, will you accept the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, that's part of the motion. The motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for document 4021, Councilor Selena Reyes. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz.
Yeah.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
motion passed 4-0.
Can I get a motion to table document 40-21?
Second.
The motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 40-21 that was tabled. Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes,
motion passed. Thank you.
thank you. Can I get a motion to take document 26-20 out of table and out of order?
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 26-20 that was taken out of order. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes, out of order and out of table, yes. Document 26-20, City Charter Review 2020. It has been put on the agenda by former Council President Basket. We have our president, Mark LaPlante, who's going to be doing a presentation for the small changes, nothing big, as he said. We all has the document via email. I hope that you have a few minutes just to kind of open, and he is going to walk us through. Councilor President, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I'm just looking for my copy, which I seem to have lost, but that's okay. I think I can work. So what I'm going to do is while you're going through that, I am going to share my screen. And first of all, thank you so much for the courtesy of allowing me to go first on the previous document and now with this. I do appreciate that. So I think this is worthy of a bit of a background, and I'll be brief because I think the meat is in this is in the actual document itself. So, the former council president and current mayor Kendra Vasquez created an ad hoc committee for the year 2020 to review the charter. As you know, councilors, Madam Chair, every 10 years, every year that ends in 0, the city council is required to do a charter review. And what the former council president wanted to see happen was he wanted to see a group of 4 gather and then to discuss and make and provide some recommendations on changes. And then he had a hard date about December 31st, 2020, by which that charter review commission would expire. So we met several times during 2020. The members of the committee included our chair, Councilor Reyes, Stella Reyes. We had Councilor Pavel Payano, who served as the chair of the Charter Review Committee. We had Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez and myself. And then the council president at the time would come in every now and then and provide some guidance and feedback as to the direction he'd like to see or things he would like to see happen. So we met and we were able to come up with some discussion points. I will tell you that this is a little, how should I say, we got through it. And then, of course, we all know the story behind the resignation of the mayor and the transition and all that. So as you can imagine, things got thrown into flux a little bit. And now we are trying to move this. We've already had a public hearing started. Our public hearing will continue next Tuesday. And then we will have a discussion, I think, as how we proceed. And I think that once you see what it is that we're looking to consider, we may want to have a special meeting for that, but we can cross that bridge when we get to it. So right here, you're seeing just some background information. And as I go through this, one of the things that the city attorney was able to find out was that, first of all, what we'll see, there are major and then minor changes or proposals. The major proposals are things that fundamentally change our charter, big changes. And if there's a big change to our charter and our form of government, those big changes need to be ratified by our populace, by an election, by a referendum on the ballot. We cannot, by the city council, and the legislature and the governor will not do without seeing, for big changes, the approval by our residents saying that, yes, we're on board and we want to see those changes. Those are the major ones. The minor ones are, as they say, that are less substantial. And those are things that the legislature will deem we can do this on our own legislature and the governor will sign it. There's smaller changes, there's tweaks, little small tweaks to the charter that aren't as big. So as you're going through this, I have this on the screen right now. You got the document split up into 2 different things. The first document is the document of the stuff that the charter review discussed. The second document is on stuff that didn't quite make the discussion. And frankly, those are a series of things, and we can go into a little more detail that former city attorney Charles Body brought to me back 5 or 6 years ago after one of the rounds of the recall. And it says, Councilor LaPlante, the next time you have a charter review, these are the things you should look at so we don't have this problem if there is ever a recall ever again. These are the things that I think will help and smooth the process out. So those things we didn't have a chance to discuss in the charter review, but I will go into those a little bit more. That's the second part. So I think with that, and the last thing is that because of the transition that we were facing with, some things happened. I really wish that I could tell you that everything of the charter review we had a vote on, and that we were on the record of saying we like this or not like this. Unfortunately, that did not happen that way. So what we have here before us is basically only the things we talked about, but I can't tell you that all of the members or there was any votes on any of these items. Some were, some didn't. It was all over the map a little bit. And it's unfortunate. So we're going to have to deal with some of these things based on maybe the chair's recollection, my recollection. But what I try to do here was just kind of highlight some of the changes that we discussed. Let me just pull my document up and that'd be helpful. So the first thing, and again, no recommendations on this, is that the city attorney, somebody wanted and had a proposal that at-large councils' terms will be for 4 years and that district councilors will remain for 2 years. There was some uncertainty as I was working this weekend and going over the minutes and going over some of the documents to figure out what was discussed necessarily. But what we do know is that they were looking at the city councilors of having term limits of 2 terms. Now, what I can't tell you is whether or not whoever it was that proposed this wanted to have, if you're 8 years for an at-large or 4 years for a district councilor and that's it. I don't know that. I wasn't the sponsor of it, but you'll see that in your document as an item that was put there. So out of fairness, I'm bringing this to your attention as something that was discussed. The second thing is dealing with kind of a residency component of elections. So as it currently stands, you just have to live in the district on the day that you get elected or sworn in. What this proposal on section 3.1B and 3.9 says, you have got to be in the district 6 months prior to the election. And then the rest of the stuff kicks in, which is if you move out of the district, if you're a district councilor, the next person in line, if they receive 30% of the vote, will then fulfill the rest of your seat. If you're an at-large councilor, as long as you stay in the city, you can move wherever you want. It doesn't make a difference. But the big part here is 180 days or 6 months, you need to be established residency in either your district or in the city, depending if you're a district or an at-large councilor. So that's the second one. And I'm not sure, Madam Chair, if you want to, people have questions along the way, that's probably the best thing to do because it's going to be harder for me to rethink these things if I got to go back. So through you, Madam Chair, if members of the committee wish to ask questions as we go through this, I'll try my best to answer.
Yeah, I think that makes sense that before you passing a sections, we can stop and just to kind of ask if there is any questions. So going back to the city councilor terms, large is going to be 4 years and city council, district council remain 2 years. So any question on that?
Yes, I do have some questions, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I think district councils, they work so much directly with the neighbors in their district that 4 years is not even enough for you to complete a task or to be able to get to know your whole community. And the other one is why this city councilor at large 4 years, like the same way as the mayor. I don't understand why a city councilor at large are giving so much, so many 2 years, while they deciding that city councilors 2 terms. It made no sense to me.
Let me just say this through you, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Just because I'm presenting this doesn't mean I agree with it. I'm just presenting what the discussion was. So I will tell you what my position, if it's important to the board, I have the same reservations you do, Councilor De La Cruz. This is not something that I would, if a motion came up, I would not support this motion. That's my opinion. I can give my opinion now at this committee, but I'm gonna have a hard time at the full council, but I feel that I can give this to you now. I have the same issues. I don't agree with that, but I wanted you to know that this was something that was in our minutes and was discussed. So how you want to deal with it doesn't mean this is law, by the way. Please
No.
don't think that just because it's written on this piece of paper and in paper in front of you, that this is what we're going to be voting on
Mhm.
on next Tuesday, or if we have a vote next Tuesday. This is just discussion points.
Right.
So
Okay.
what I'm hopeful that this board, what this committee might be able to do, maybe you have the option to streamline this. If you think that's a bunch of garbage, if you don't support this, you can say, listen, we're going to send this up to the full council and we're not going to have that portion in it. We're going to take that portion out, or we're going to change it. Maybe you decide you want to have 4 terms, or you want to have the same amounts. This is the charter review reviewed it, did not come with any really strong recommendations by vote. So they're all over the place and I can't do that. But you, as the ordinance committee, have that ability to send it up however you want to send it up.
So
Okay.
what I will recommend that we take note of that, but I think it's going to be hurtful if we try to make a motion every time we pass that section, just to be clear that what we decided to do is the section that we are voting. Like, let's say section 30.1C. So what do you wish to happen? City council have term limited of terms, large and district councilor.
Are you asking me, Madam Chair? Or
No,
is
I'm
it
asking
the
the
committee?
member of the committee if they want to go by section, like, and make a motion that we want to remain a 2-year term for councilor at large and councilor district councilor. So that's
Then can we make a motion at this point to?
whatever you want to do. Yeah, if that's what you want to do and we have enough support, yes.
Yes, then I would like to make a motion to section 2. I have a paper that it has section 2.
Section 3.1.
Three,
My copy,
point-
I think I have a very old copy because I have section 2 election term.
if you go by,
A copy of the last paper that Mr. LaPlante sent me. As to many things that are there, I think if we're gonna make motion for each one of the sections, then that is gonna take a long, long time.
the floor is open. Whichever way we want to take it, we just have to take a note, because then we can just get surprised when we send the document up that we say, yeah, well, we want to this, because this is the time for us just to send our recommendations. Okay, so if you
Madam-
want,
Let me get a
Madam Chair,
draft Mr. LaPlante sent me.
so it's the same one that he has on the screen. No,
Madam Chair.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yeah, the only part I don't like what we have in the screen, the section 3.1C. Why we're gonna change it for city councilors at large 4 years and district councilor only 2 years. That makes no sense.
That's exactly why we open a discussion.
Yeah, because that's why we got election. That's the people decided if you're doing the job or you're not doing the job. The people will decide to keep you there or not keep you there. And that 4 years for the city council at large and 2 years for the district council make no sense. Thank you, Mayor.
The way I look at it is that we still have to have election every 2 years.
Yes,
If it's going to be work for one, it have to be for everyone. So I'm waiting for Councilor De La Cruz.
I have an old copy. I'm just trying to print it out what Mr. LaPlante just sent me, because I do wanted to make a motion for that section that he has on the screen, section 3.1. with some of the changes that we need to put on.
Councilor President. If we wish to make a motion now, that would be a valid motion on section 3.1, section C.
I'm sorry. So I think that it's certainly within this committee's right to say, I liked section 3.1C in the way that it's written. Let's go for it. I don't like 3.1C. Let's just delete it. Or I like 3.1C, but you know something? We should change the term limits to 3 terms to 2 terms. So there you go, or whatever the terms you want to do. So you got a whole wide spectrum of stuff. So what I'm hearing from you is that you don't like this. If the committee doesn't like it, the committee say, you know something, we're not going to recommend this at the full council. This is a section that we don't recommend, or we're going to take this out, something like that.
If we take it out, we're just gonna stay with what we have, 2 term.
Well, right now there is no term limits.
Okay,
So right now there's the at-large and districts are treated the same, and there's
Yeah.
no term limits.
yeah, that's exactly, if we just wanna erase this portion, it's gonna stay the same.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
so.
Then- Motion to keep section 3.1B as.
We couldn't
have
hear,
it. Say that again.
Madam Chair,
Madam,
Councilor Reyes.
and we cannot send the recommendation of whole council included at the same session, running every 4 years for every councilor, not only for a large.
That would be perfect. That we
Yeah.
don't have to buy into a year. Councilor President. If we want to include that language in this section, is that something that we can do?
So I think the answer is yes, but I wasn't sure what Councilor Selena Reyes was suggesting. Could you repeat that again?
Basically,
years.
basically, we're gonna be treated all the same, and if we go for 4 years term, it's gonna be also for district councilor.
You certainly can make that change. You have every right to do that, and you can send that up with that change. I'm going to remind you one more thing. If you look what I have here, I use the word major. You're not going to see that a lot on this. This is a major change to our form of government. And if we decide to go that route, it's very likely, I can't commit 100% to this, but it's likely that the legislature was going to say, if you want to do this, you're going to need to have your residents vote on it at whatever the next election is. So just be aware of that.
Okay, so I think what we have to do in this point, if you all are agree, just to make us a motion to delete this section, and we're just gonna stay as it is.
Motion to delete that section.
Section 3.1, section,
Madam,
yes, Councilor Gonzalez.
but like as Councilor Reyes said, 4 years, that way we can save some money too. That way because if the district council go only for 2 years, they have to have election every 2 years. And the mayor is 4 years, and the at-large 4 years. I mean, the at-large will be working together for 4 years with the mayor, and the district council had to have election every 2 years.
So, yes, Councilor Gonzalez was, Councilor President was just explained a few minutes ago that if we decided to go by that one, then our constitution have to have the opportunity to be voting on that. Since we're not gonna have time back and forth, if we go ahead and delete the sections, we're just gonna stay as it is.
Well, my personal opinion that is the president council say that we have to put them on the ballot. We can do in November coming up in September, and we can do it because we have an election this year. Why we don't do it?
Through you, Madam Chair,
Councilor President.
we don't have control over the state legislature on Beacon
Yes.
Hill. There's committee meetings that they have to do. There's their schedule. It's got to be signed by the governor. So while you may, or we may want to see changes done this year, there's no guarantee that the legislature is going to move that fast. So we don't know.
Mhm. So basically, we're gonna stay in the ears. So we're not gonna be able to make any changes until we hear from them.
Well, delayed it.
Okay, so Councilor Villa Cruz just was about to make that motion, and we have to go back because we interrupt when we was just kind of ready for. So Councilor Villa Cruz,
Yes, my motion is to delete the whole paragraph. To delete it completely.
okay, section 3.1, section C. So the,
Right, the changes, Madam Chair, you're not deleting it from the charter, you're just deleting the
no,
change.
no,
Yeah.
from our recommendation,
The change.
okay?
3.1 B
Yeah.
and 3.9.
So we're talking about different sections. So the section 3,
The
C.
one that is on the screen by Mr. LaPlante.
So there's the stuff on the page, and then there's this stuff that the city attorney drafted with the sections, and I think that's where, whatever, Madam Chair, whatever you want, however you want to deal with it. On the cheat sheet that's on your screen right now, 3.1C is the actual charter. That's the actual provision in the charter. What you're seeing on this document that you have that I emailed to you is what the city attorney said section. This would be on the term limits would be actually section 2.
Section 2, that's what I have.
Yeah.
And I have copies of the same.
So, Madam Chair, however you want to deal with this, as far as keeping it consistent, I'll work with you. So, however, it's up to you.
So the
Then let-
motion up on the floor is,
Section 2, paragraph C. Section 3.1, paragraph C.
Yes,
Section 2, paragraph C.
okay, so the motion, can I hear a second?
second.
The motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for to delete the section 2, 3.1.
3.1.
Yeah, 3.1. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion
Madam
carries.
Chair, before we continue to the other ones, when Mr. LaPlante was talking about section 1B, about residents,
Mhm.
we couldn't go back and vote on that one. Can we do that?
Yeah, so that's the next one.
That's the next one.
The top one, section 1.
Yeah, but this one is B.
Yeah, section 1B, yes.
Okay. So, yeah,
The section 1B says that people have to leave at the premise 180 days preceding their election. I think we have a big problem in this city about candidates just coming in, going registered to vote, and that's it. I have a recommendation to make on that one. And that is that any candidate who wanted to go to an election must live in Massachusetts, must live in the city of Lawrence. And then that person worked in Massachusetts, and that person live at least 2 years in the district that he is running for candidate. Because I would like to add this part because it is a joke in this city. And we need to stop that.
so my understanding that what we have in front of us is what we had in our city charter. Am I correct, Councilor President?
We do have some of this in our city charter. The change here is that there's a residency requirement 180 days prior to the election. That's the change.
Mhm. Which just means 6 months.
6 months, right?
Yes.
6 months. Okay, but in 6 months, I can move out of my district if I want to run in your district. And
Yeah.
that needed to stop. I have to be living in my district for 2 years if I want to run for any candidate position. Then we have to make changes to that because I don't think that is being respected in this city. People are just moving because I want to take your place. And we need to have that in writing that, any person who wanted to run, they know that they have to be living in that address for 2 years, working in Massachusetts, any cities of Massachusetts, because I understand we don't have jobs for everybody in the city of Lawrence. And at the same time, that candidate is in the community. It is unfair that I go and come back whenever time I want to. Then we need to put a stop. I don't know if everybody agree with me, but I think this is a great opportunity to put a stop on that. You want to become you wanted to be elected in this city, you have to work in your community. You have to be part of your community.
So what I'm reading here is that if the counselor moved out of Lawrence prior to 18 months into the terms, that fourth place finish take the spot, follow it in order of finisher, 30%. So basically you have to leave for at least 6 months prior to that November election.
But that is not happening in our city. It's not happening. 6 months is not enough because if I get mail, if I prove that I have mail from my address in 6 months, I can run for any position. And it is not fair. It is not, it shouldn't be that way.
So we can make any changes that we feel like it. So your recommendation is that the person have to live in the district for at least 2 years?
2 years, yes. Work in Massachusetts, that we know that person work around the area.
To work in Massachusetts, that kind of conflict. What about
okay,
if
I cannot say work in Lawrence because we don't have jobs for everybody. That person could work in Methuen, that person could work in Haverhill, in whatever place to work, but that person is still in Massachusetts and is an active working in the state of Massachusetts and live in the city of Lawrence. That is understandable.
But we have other folk that might be working in a different state, but they've been living all their life in the city. So we can limit it just because the company decided to move to another state and you don't want to lose your job and you live in Lawrence and you are resident. Or
what if that person that is running doesn't work in the United States at all?
Well, that would be something different, but that's not something that we have to, because I don't think that is one of the requirements.
But so it should be a requirement. It should be that person is part of the United States and that person, I don't care if that person go to work whatever place, but that person is a worker that you can have access on a daily basis to that person.
We're just going to open the floor. Councilor President, help us to understand this a little bit more, because the thing is like at the state houses. So you can live in any city and then you still can be a state house. I mean, state rep.
But you're still part of Massachusetts.
So, I'm not an expert. But I do think that once we start we got to be careful about the restrictions because of the constitutionality of the restrictions. People have the right to be able to work where they want to work. They can cross state lines. These are federal, these are constitutional matters. My concern, and again, I'm not a constitutional expert, but my concern would be if you start putting prohibitions on where people work or they don't work, and you start telling them that in our laws how that happens, it's first of all, it's not going to. It will be extremely unlikely that the legislature is going to pass that. This will be considered a major change, so it wouldn't be a minor change. Already, because of the fact that we're changing, I put minor versus major after talking to the city attorney today. This is really kind of a close one. It could be a major, it could be minor about making sure people are out of the district, because what you're doing is you're restricting people's ability to run for office and people's ability to choose somebody that they want. So there's some issues there that need to be ironed out. So I hear what Councilor De La Cruz is saying, and I think they're very well intentioned, because we all want to see our city do better, and we're tired of the city being taken right to the cleaners, et cetera, and we want it to rise and do well. So I get that. But it's going to be challenging, I think, and to move on some of these directions.
Well, then let's say to work in the United States, because if I work in another country and I'm a city councilor, it made no sense, because I will never be able to do the job that that my voters elected me for. Then if you're not part of the community or part of the, instead of saying Massachusetts, let's say United States. We have to be very clear on that.
Council, I guess the only thing that I would just have you maybe for some consideration is, if that in fact is the case, and I don't know what the international laws are. I am not an expert on this, so I can't speak. But what I can speak about is that people in our districts, every election cycle, have the right to choose who they want to choose. If somebody is doing what you're suggesting, and that may be happening today, I really don't know, then it's incumbent upon the person running against them to make sure that the people know that this person's doing this, but I'm committed to helping you out. Vote for me because I'm here. You have the candidate has to make the pitch. The people need to hear whatever it is that the candidates are saying, and then make a decision. Maybe the people like the fact that this person's working outside of the country. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing, and they like that. And we're going to say that they can't choose that. It's a tough question, right? Common sense would say no. They would want to vote for someone who lives and works here. That would make sense. But how do we know what the voters want? This is why we have elections.
Then let me rephrase what I meant after some of the colleagues give their opinion.
Okay.
Anybody?
And Councilor Gonzalez?
Yes, I make a motion to approve section 3(1)(b).
As it is, or as the changes that we're trying to make?
No, as it is. If I know a person don't live here and running, I will report them. I don't see anybody. I've been here all my life, and I don't see any problems with the 6 months. You live in the district, and I don't see any problems.
I second it.
Motion has been made, properly seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll
What is
call.
the motion? Can you repeat the motion, please?
The motion is just to pass it as it is, no making any changes.
Then we're not going to make changes for people to live 2 years in the city of Lawrence? Mr. Gonzalez.
So,
Mr.
so he's gone.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Sorry,
Mr. Gonzalez, my question is, you will amend that the person live in the city of Lawrence for 2 years?
No,
You're gonna leave it as it is?
as it is.
Okay.
So the motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
A roll call for to leave section, council must live 6 months prior to election. To leave it as is. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
No,
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
motion passed 3-1.
Okay, you might continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next one here was some would be considered a minor change. Somebody made a recommendation that we change the inauguration of the mayor and city council to the first Saturday in January, thereby allowing more individuals to show up to the inauguration event and the festivities rather than I think the current charter says the first secular day in January, which is typically January the 2nd. So that was the change. It's considered to be a minor change, so it's pretty simplistic.
So, Counselor, instead of Tuesday, it's gonna be first Saturday, which we're gonna have more opportunity to our loves, to be part of it. And more people can join as inauguration day. Agree to Saturday, not to Tuesday.
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made, no change it on that one. Properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 3.2 to change it from Tuesday to a Saturday for inauguration day. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
motion passed 4-0.
Thank you. We're moving on. The next one here is what we would consider a major change. This is dealing with somebody who has been convicted of a felony while they're currently in office. So you can think of a million different kinds of variables and how that would play out. But if you committed a crime prior to the election, but you weren't convicted, but you were convicted once you were in office, once that conviction takes place, you lose your seat. Or if
What
you're
about, Mr. LaPlante, what about a person who has been convicted? We had those cases in this city, and they're running for seat.
So to repeat, this is if somebody was convicted while they were in office. So what does that mean? That means the voters did not know at the time of the vote that this person was guilty of that because it didn't happen. The conviction didn't take place. It doesn't talk about a conviction that took place 20 years ago. The person went to jail or whatever the situation was. The fact in this particular instance, 20 years ago, the person served their time and now is eligible to run for office again. I don't know this. I mean, you could paint a million scenarios. This is only if a felony crime was committed, but convicted during your term and my term, if it was one of us during our 2-year term or a mayor during that 4-year term, that conviction. So hopefully that makes some sense.
Yep.
What about before the person being elected?
So again, if that conviction took place before the election, then you would think that the voters knew at the time that they voted for this person. So it's a question of trusting the voters to make the right decision. Did you want someone who was just convicted of a crime to represent you? Hopefully the voters are not going to say yes to that and will vote for the other person. There's other questions which there was a time years ago that members of Congress and James Michael Curley in the city of Boston served out was a mayor of Boston and a congressman. In the meantime, he was in jail for part of that time. Some crazy times. And here's my last tip. I always wanted to tell the story. In our city, Back in 1913, there was a guy that was convicted, spent 3 years in jail, and then the voters brought him back in 4 years later in our own city. So it happens. But the point here is that voters should have well, this is my proposal. I'll be honest with you. I put this one on here so I can speak with more authority on it. This one right here, it allows the voters to have an opportunity to make a decision prior to, but once that conviction takes place, I think you're disqualified. But that's, again, my opinion. I'm the one that put this on this agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call. Roll call. Maria?
I had on mute.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. I'm talking here to myself.
No problem, no problem. We all do.
Section, roll call for section 3.4 to approve as is. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
No.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1 votes.
Okay.
That was a major one. That's probably going to have to go before the people if we're going to make that change. The next one is considered a minor change. So the discussion is that committees need to have either one person, which is kind of nutty, or 3 people. We can't have more than 4, as you know, serving on a committee because it would violate the rules. So the idea behind this one by somebody, I'm not sure who made this one, but was to have 3 counselors on a committee. They wanted an odd number to kind of break it up so that things wouldn't be stalemated at 2-2. And that was the thinking behind the 3 counselors. The other part of it was the other 2 were actually made by, at that time, former City Council President Kendra Vasquez, who asked that we add 2 new committees, and you can see them written right there. He made the argument, and I think the chair may be able to talk more about this maybe than I, but because of the workload the Ordinance Committee has, the agenda is extremely long, that the former council president thought that we could break this up a little bit to try to have some jurisdictional issues and try to have things move a little bit faster and lessen the workload, make it more manageable. So we added these 2, recommended to add these 2 committees. One is on public health, safety, transportation, and utilities. That would include public safety that we currently have now. That's not a standing committee. And then another one dealing with arts, culture, parks, and recreation. And that would be things for, things like his argument, I think, was things like approval of things on the common. Yeah. Marches, parades, using whatever public ways that you need for whatever. And back to the first one again with things like utilities and things like allowing for polls and Verizon and whatever else. So that's the proposal.
So basically is that sometime, let's say that it's a church who need approve from that ordinance committee just to kind of have any, event. So for whatever reason, if we can meet, at least we're gonna have another committee, and that doesn't have to go through ordinance committee. Is that clear for?
So wouldn't you go before the ordinance committee, Madam Chair? I think you're correct that the council president, let's say hypothetically, if there was a if a church wanted to use the Campione Common, that would immediately go to this new committee called the Arts, Culture, Parks, and Recreation Committee. That's where that would go. It would not go before the ordinance anymore. It would go before that committee. What I'm unclear about, and I'm thinking about this right now, is whether or not there will be anything known as the Ordinance Committee. There probably is, maybe just for laws, for ordinances, right? As opposed to approvals, which is what these two are kind of for. So I think the ordinance committee will remain, but it's going to be a completely different animal, according to Mr. Former council president.
I think so too. So, so right now it's just to open, just to create another new committee. And the 3 councilors instead of 4. Any question on that one?
Madam Chair,
Councilor Gonzalez?
I did not understand the council president. We created another committee to help everybody.
Additional 2, through you, Madam Chair, the additional, there's
Yes.
proposals for 2 additional committees to help with the manage the workload that's currently before the ordinance committee.
Yeah, I understand now. Thank you.
So any question on that one? So any motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to pass as it is has been made.
Yes.
Can I hear a second? No? So what will be the changes?
Stay as it is.
So if you second, and then the motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for section 3.5D to state as it is. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
No,
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Tenemos we had a motion to approve.
So,
Thank you,
let me-
Aida.
Councilor Gonzalez. The
you
motion,
approve, you're gonna approve the 3 councils?
before I call the motion, I open for discussion if you want to go as it is, or you would like to make any changes. So, we're just gonna drop the motion for you to make the changes that you might look in,
But nobody supported.
you did. You did. So, we're just gonna withdraw the motion. Maria.
Mhm.
Okay, so, we are ready to call a motion to pass section 3.5D as it is, or would you like to make any changes?
I'd like to make a change.
So can you, before you make the changes, can you please, Councilor President, explain a little bit more? I don't think it, it's kind of clear. I'm sorry. As you know, all the members, I was part of this committee. I understand what is coming. So, can you explain a little bit more about 3 councilors?
I have one question for her first.
Yeah, so Councilor President is going to be able to answer that.
Thank you.
So the discussion among the Charter Review Committee was that 4 was not a good number. That needed to be a different number because the 4, oftentimes there would be a 2-2 vote, which means everything wouldn't pass and would stay in the committee. So the thinking at the Charter Review level was that that the proposal would be to make it an odd number. You can't do 5 because that's a quorum. You can't do 1 because that's ridiculous. So you're left with 3. So
And 3 is a problem.
okay.
What about if I get sick, Council President, and I can't make it to the meeting? It will be no meeting, 2 people, right?
There can be a meeting for 2 people. 2 is a quorum.
Oh, I'm sorry. But what about if they go 1 and 1?
You're right. It could go 1 and 1 and nothing changes it.
Nothing happens. Same thing if you have 4, 2 and 2.
That's right. That's exactly right, Counselor. Yes. If there's an
Thank you.
equal number, nothing changes. Correct.
Thank you.
So 4.
4.
So are we agreed to add two new committee? You like
No.
that? No?
No.
Okay, so we're just gonna leave, we're not going to, we have to delete section 3.5D. So motion to,
I
I'm
think, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I think we need to have more clarification because with the two new committees is a great topic on the subject.
Council
It's the same.
President. So basically, Councilor President was, explained just a few minutes ago that what we are looking is, since we all know that sometimes we have heavy agenda, we have, too many items and always in Ordinance Committee, we try to light our work and just to kind of have 2 subcommittee that can be dealing with, like, let's say, just to use an example, which was the same one that I just used a few minutes ago. A church need permits to use the camping park or any park in the city. So they can go to park and recreations, and it's still going to, Ordinance have something to do, or no? But I think you have to go through those 2 committees. Councilor President.
Just a minor modification on that, Madam Chair, and thank you. I think the way this was written, again, not my proposal, the way that the intention behind this is that we're going to have, I think, 5 or 6 standing committees. So let's name Budget Committee,
Yeah.
Housing Committee, Ordinance Committee, Personnel Committee, Public Health, Transportation, and Utilities Committee, and Arts, Culture, Parks, and Recreation Committee. So when an item comes before the City Council, a new item, the Council President, as it's been happening now since 1986, will then take that, a new item, and send it to one of those, let's say 6 committees. Those are now standing committees. So they're all equal in power and authority and everything else, but we're adding 2 more. So the Ordinance Committee would be the committee that's essentially just going to be dealing with, for example, the ordinance that we talked about prior to this one, that would still go before the Ordinance Committee. The one about the resolutions regarding the parks and the naming and all that, that would go to the Ordinance Committee because it deals with a law and ordinance. If it was something like the council chair was saying, the committee chair, on using the Campagnone Common, yeah, that's going to go before the Parks and Recreation Committee. If it's something deal with an easement on Merrimack Street or on Osgood Street or whatever the street is for right of way for something, for use of that, that's going to go on Transportation and Utilities. That's the idea behind this.
Clear? We're gonna make any changes? We're not,
Very clear, Madam Chair.
Councilor Reyes?
I'm clear now.
Okay, you're clear. Councilor Gonzalez, Councilor Maria de la Cruz.
I'm present.
So we are going to Councilor Gonzalez, Councilor Maria, Selena, we're gonna delete it, we're gonna change it, we're gonna set it. What are we doing with this one in order for us to continue moving forward?
Delete it.
Delete it. Can I hear a second? So, Councilor, what is the change? The motion died. So what is the change? So we are started from the beginning. So what is the change that you need to see in this section in order for us just to have a motion?
Well, I've been with all due respect, we've been working, like I say, if we go down to 3, if somebody can't come into the meeting, it'd be 2. If the 2 councilors don't agree with them, be 1 and 1. It'd be the same thing like Councilor President say, is 4, they can be 2 and 2. It's no benefit. I don't, my colleagues have to make a decision. I won't support it. It's councilors.
Councilor Gonzalez recommend added one more councilor.
That's what we have. So what he's recommending now is to delete the whole section. So that's the motion. So the motion is to delete the whole section, 3.5D. Can I hear a second? It's gonna be 4 councilors instead of 3.
Or councilor, second.
The motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have it. Roll call.
Roll call for for section 3.5D to be deleted. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion passed 4-0.
Councilor President.
Thank you. The next one is considered a minor change. The review committee was looking at making sure that there was an additional word in this section that dealt with the city clerk and the city attorney, and the word to include in the big section is the word oversee. So it's a very simple, it's a simple amendment, and it's minor in scope. And we're kind of doing it already, but this takes away the ambiguity.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for section 3.6A to stay as is. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, Madam Chair, is a minor section. This is 3.6 and deleting the Board of Assessors from the charter with responsibility for the City Council. The law changed several years ago in a reorganization, and all this is trying to do is trying to have the charter reflect the law, with the Board of Assessors no longer reporting directly to the City Council, but rather to the Budget and Finance Director.
Yes. Motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to pass as it is has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 3.6D to state as is. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0, motion passed. Thank you.
The next item is another minor change. There's 2 little sections there. So part of this is because if there will be no section D, because you just took out the Board of Assessors, you're just changing the letters. So what was previously E now becomes D. Does that make sense? You're just kind of rippling what the new letter is going to be. The bigger part here, I think, is the city council staff is appointed by the majority of the council right now. There's, again, ambiguity. I think the mayor is the appointing authority for city council staff, which is a little odd and a little awkward because it's a staff that we rely on and that we choose essentially, but the mayor actually technically has that ability. But over the course of time, the practice has been the mayor's traditionally let the council figure out who they want and then just signs off on it. All this is doing is ratifying or making sure that it's now codified that the city council, rather than the mayor, selects and chooses its own city council staff.
Make a motion to approve. That's it
Second.
is.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 3.6E to state as is. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you.
The next item under section, this would be considered a minor section under section 4.4 of the charter. This is, and I'll read it and then maybe explain. Any temporary appointment shall be limited, any mayoral appointments, that is, any mayor appointment shall be limited to 120 days. And then it can be extended by 90 days with the mayor and the city council approval. Whoever it was that was made temporary, but was not ultimately made permanent, that person gets their old job back. The idea behind this is that there's been a lot of confusion and what's the right word I'm looking for? Liberal use of policies and some ambiguity as well about how much time does someone stay as an acting position in the city. And it's been going on for some time, or we got people who are serving for acting for quite some time.
Mhm.
And what this is trying to, and there's other levers here. So we're trying to make it clear that there should be a time frame that someone could be temporary. And the proposal here is to limit it to 120 days, which is roughly 4 months, that someone can stay as a temporary for the mayor without any kind of council approval. They just stay and work there. And then if the mayor needs more time to fill that position, then he can come before the council and say, I need an additional 90 days. Can you give me 90 more days? We need that to fill this position. And they can make that petition to the council. That's what this proposal is.
Yes. So as you know, Councillor, we have some of our city position that employee has been acting position, not a permanent position. So basically that's gonna cover. So motion to,
Approve.
Second.
motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 4.4 to state as is. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes. Motion passed.
Thank you. Here are some very non-controversial things. Minors on section 6.4B. This is just making sure that any official publications are also posted on the city website.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
motion, can I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, roll call for section 6.4B to state as is. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes. Motion passed.
The next one is section 6.5. This is one of the sections that deals with department heads. And so what this proposal is doing, it's adding 2 particular department heads that require city council approval. And also a 2/3 votes if they were to be removed from that. So there's already a list in our charter of different department heads and different other employees that have this requirement. And this is adding water commissioner and planning director to that list.
So motion to,
Motion,
what is your question or second?
second.
Okay, motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 6.5 to state as is. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion passed.
Thank you. The next one is also considered a minor section. Currently in our city charter, we have a couple of boards. This is the first one, the library board. There are no limits in our charter that say how many years a member can serve. This clarifies it by saying that if you're serving on the library board in this case, that you have a 3-year term, not 5 years, not 10 years, not a lifetime. It's 3 years. So it's very simple. That's the recommendation.
Pass it as it is.
Yes.
Motion made. Can I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
A roll call for section 6.6 to state as is. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion passed.
Next one is 6.7, same principle, this time for the Bellevue Cemetery Board. 3-year terms. Currently, there were no terms on the charter.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, stay as it is. Roll call.
Roll call for section 6.7 to state as is. Councilors Jorge de la Cruz. I'm sorry. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez.
Yes.
Jorge de la Cruz. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maria
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz.
Maria Gonzalez. Yes.
And Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes. It's
Motion
getting late.
passed.
Hey, it's getting late.
No.
Getting late.
I'm just getting let. I'm gonna let you know that at 9 I'm exiting. I have a very important appointment at 9:10.
Okay.
I'll speak faster. Next
So,
section, making sure the public hearing notices for the budget are posted on the city website. That's it.
Motion.
Make it a block.
So
If you
motion
want, you could.
second.
Second. Go ahead.
A roll call for section 7.2A. Counselor Jorge Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz.
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion passed.
Same thing here, that the public hearing notice for the capital improvement budget must also be posted on the city website.
Yes.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have it.
Roll call for section 7.4C to state as is. Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion pass.
Thank you. The next one is that there be a public hearing notice for any group petition must also be posted on the city website.
Okay. Can I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have it.
Okay, roll call for section 9.1B. The status is Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion pass.
Okay.
Thank you. From this point going forward, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're related. These are not items that were taken up by the Charter Review Committee because of time. But these are the items that I referenced a while ago, now about an hour ago, that deals with the things that Attorney Charles Body back in, I think, 2015 or 16 or something like that, submitted after his experience, both reading the charter and through some recall stuff. The first one's not a recall one, but he brought this to my attention, and I put this on the agenda. I think this would be considered, this is probably considered a minor one, but if you look at our citizens initiative measures, this allows people to essentially petition us for things. And if we don't do, and they need to have a certain number of percentage of voters to sign this petition to get it to us for a vote. If we don't vote in the way that they want, then they can go back again and get more signatures, and then it goes on the ballot. So that's what this is about. But in our ordinance book, it says typically on the other matters, it says that you should, the first number should be the smaller number. To get it before us shouldn't be 12% of the registered voters. It should be 5. But in our ordinance book, I think that's a typo. I think it's a mistake here, to be honest with you. And I think Charles Attorney Body caught it. But it says 12% for that. And then it goes back and talks about 5% on the other side, and it needs to be reversed. So right here, what we're doing here is that we're looking to change that to provide some consistency between this and some other sections that says that the first bite of the apple to bring it to the council, 5%. And then if you don't get to where you want to go with the council, let's say we don't approve it or whatever, then they have another bite. That's 12. That's a bigger deal to get it before the voters. That's 12%. That's what this changes.
Yeah. So, Councilor,
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have it.
Roll call for section 9.2A and B. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes. You said yes, Madam Chair?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you. 4-0 votes, motion pass.
I think we consider that one a minor one. This one's also a minor one. This is a lot of words, and it gets really into the weeds. Let me see if I can summarize it. And this is not easy. All right, so there are a variety of small process changes that the recall folks back. It's been like what there were two. If you a little bit of history, you may recall there were recall petitions. Been twice now in the last 15 years or less, or definitely less than that, that have come before the city. And each time there were issues with respect to its process, and things got caught up in court because of things that seemed to be questions of what are we supposed to be doing? This doesn't make any sense. Where's the consistency? So again, I put this on, but I'll be honest with you. I lean entirely on Attorney Charles Body, who drafted this language. So I might be the sponsor, but I didn't write this. So what this provision does right here is kind of correct the timing and what can be done. For example, you need to provide an affidavit to start this recall petition. For example, in our language, it says a affidavit. What Attorney Body in his experience says, people may be sending more than one piece of paper with an affidavit. The clerk should count all those pieces of paper with the affidavit and then not penalize it if it's not just on one. That's an example of this right here. And then it talks with great specificity. If you read what the language says here, it talks about the timing. When the clerk gets it, how many hours before he gets it to the registrar, how much time the registrar has it before he gets it to the council, who holds the paper before they go back out with the petitions, when can that be brought in, what does the clerk do with it when that petition gets brought in. This goes into all that kind of detail with respect to timing, its process. The recall petition remains, but it's a question of maybe making it more definitive and clear.
Yeah.
Rules are clear. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, so it's basically that if you don't like a mayor, okay, we're gonna do a recall. So we just try to place and put something in place that is gonna be more specific, is that what we're doing, what time frame we have, instead of just to be all over and just to kind of make the city to spend money. So motion,
Motion to approve.
can I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion has been made, properly second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Roll call for section 9.7B, the status is Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
yes.
4-0 vote, motion passed.
All right, the next one, again, considered a minor one. This is a different section within the recall. So section B, section C, section D. So we're just going through it. Again, this is another explanation or clarification, if you will, of what happens when a recall supported gets the 15% of the registered voters. What happens at that point? This is a smaller provision, of course. And that talks about, well, if once the city clerk gets it, he gets the certified signature to the council within 24 hours of the certification. And then the city council has to let that person who's about to get recalled know about it within 24 hours, or I'm sorry, 48 hours or 2 days. So again, it's really just articulating and clarifying what that section should say.
Okay,
A motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
the motion seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
I have it, roll call,
Roll call for section 9.7C, the status is Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
yes.
4-0 votes, motion passed.
The next one, this one would be considered, and talking with the city attorney, more of a major, not a minor provision. If this gets adopted, we believe that this would probably have to come before the voters. What this says here is in any kind of recall situation, what has happened before this potential change is that, and this is what's happened in Fall River actually within the last year, but you could get recalled if you're the mayor. And then you could have your name back on the ballot. Like first you say, should the mayor be recalled, yes or no? And if you say, yes, they should be recalled, then you go to the next piece of paper, and the next piece of paper has a list of names of people who is going to be the replacement mayor. And as it currently stands, that replacement, that person's being replaced isn't one of the candidates. What this says is that if you say that you want to recall the mayor, that next sheet of paper will not have that recalled name on there. Same thing happened in Fall River, which was kind of bizarre. The Fall River recently, they had a mayor who was recalled. His name was on the ballot and they voted him back in. So they recalled him and voted him back in. It was just kind of weird. So in this particular case, they're just taking the name off. If you decide to recall him, you don't have him as a choice to be elected.
But in this one is that if you recall the measure, but it doesn't pass, so I don't see the reason why not to, just not to have it in the ballots again, because it could be that a group of people don't like it, but the other group, and that was basically what was the situation on that specific mayor. It's always going to be half and half. So if we don't change it, or if we delete it, so we just stay as it is, what we have in the city charter, right?
If this remains unchanged, the person who's recalled, obviously, if the person does not get recalled, you don't even get to the second page, right? Because that person stays as the mayor. But if that person is the first page gets recalled as it stands right now, you'll see that person's name again on the second page.
So, Councillor, if we decided not to, we just gonna stay what we have in our city charter. So if we want to, we can adopt section 9.8D.
Motion to approve to have what we have right now in the channel.
Okay, so to delete the section 9.8D.
Second.
Motion to delete 9.8D has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for section 9.8D to be deleted. Councillor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councillor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councillor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Motion pass 4-0 votes.
And I think this last one is the final one. And thank you for your patience this evening, everyone. And this is not easy to do, right? This would be a minor one. So this is if the person is recalled, in this case, a mayor. If the mayor is recalled, they would continue their duties in that office until that new person has been elected and then sworn in and certified by the Board of Registrars. A minor change as far as the city attorney and I looked at it.
Okay, so if the elected official is recalled, they continue their duty in office until we have an elected and qualified person. So meaning that because we pass a recall, that person have to leave right away. So the position is not going to be open or vacant until we have that official elected.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to pass as it is. Can I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
have a question.
Question.
Yes. Council President LaPlante, if the person is removed, then they have to wait until the next election to be elected? That's what you mean?
No, let me just tell you what happens now and what this change would mean. So right now, after that recall election takes place and then somebody else is voted, that person, that mayor, I think immediately loses that position and leaves the office. And I would presume at that point, like any other succession, the council president then moves up because someone has to write the checks and sign everything else and operate the government. So the council president would go there until
We elected another.
Election time.
till some other time, and I'm not sure when that time is necessarily. What this does is that this allows. Did I just misspeak? I think I might have. Give me 1 second here, and I'm sorry. I'm going to read my language again. So right now it's the opposite of what we see there. So right now they're going to continue their duties until the new person is elected and qualified. And I think right now is that there is a window of time, right, that takes place, and if they may be having to leave right away, at least at this point, there is that window is gapped, is going, they're going to be able to fill it at some point when until the actual swearing in. So you don't have to leave that day or that night. When that new person is sworn in and
Yeah.
gets ratified, that's when that person takes office. So you don't have to wait, I don't know, whatever the time is. It happens faster.
Okay. Thank you.
So we have the motion on the floor just to pass as it is. It has been properly second. Roll call.
Roll call for section 9.7F. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes. 4-0 votes, motion passed. Thank you.
That's it, counselors. Thank you so much. The last thing I will leave you with is this took us a while to do. This is going to take us a while at the full council level. We have a public hearing coming up next Tuesday. We're required to have it. It's posted. We have to have it. That will happen. I just want to, as you saw what we had to do tonight, I'm going to see if there's any appetite for us to have a special meeting, because there's going to be 4 other people who want to be able to talk and debate and ask questions. So I just leave you with that might have to happen.
So I do have a question before you take off.
Yes, ma'am.
I know the plan of the intention is to have a special meeting, just to have opportunity to the public to be part of whatever change we decided to make. It does still, I know that you had mentioned it, but this is going to continue being the plan.
Madam Chair, we are required and we will have a public hearing on the 16th of March. We will open it up to anybody else who wishes to comment. Some
Right.
people will be watching this meeting tonight, Madam Chair, may now have a better handle and better idea as to some of the changes, why there are some changes, and not all the changes are going to be going through. I hope that you'll send this to the city attorney so she can put this in a better form, and then the full council will then see the work that you did this evening, take out the stuff you liked, keep the stuff you do like, and then the full council will have that as part of its package based on your work. My point here is that I don't anticipate that we're going to do it true justice. I anticipate maybe doing a clerk's position that night, maybe having interviews that night. We have regular other public hearings going on. We have a lot of stuff going on. It's a very full agenda. I just want to make sure that we give this issue the time that it needs. And if we start debating this at 10:30 next Tuesday night, I don't think we're going to be in a good place to give the people our best at that hour and ask the questions and do whatever we need to do. So I'm going to see if we can do a special meeting so we can just focus just on this charter. And that'll be probably sometime, we can talk about it next Tuesday, so when that is.
So, yes, so I think if the motion will be is with all the recommendation that we just made tonight, we're gonna send it to the city attorney and we ask that she review it. First of all, we're gonna send it with favor recommendation with all the changes to the full council, sending the changes that we just made for final draft to the city attorney to be ordered a public hearing.
The public hearing's already been ordered.
No. I'm sorry, it's already there. So it's just to send it with favor recommendation pending the final draft to the city attorney with the changes that we just made. That's going to be the motion and I'm looking for that motion.
Motion.
Second.
The motion has been made by Councilor Jorge Gonzalez, second by Councilor Selena Reyes. All those in favors to send it with recommendation and send it also to the changes and recommendation for final draft to the city attorney. Second, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Roll call. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion pass.
Councilor President, no words to thank you enough to walk us through and be patient with us until we feel comfortable just to make a right decision. Thank you for that. And it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. Have a very safe and productive evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yep.
See you.
Thank
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So, Councilor, we are going to the top of the agenda. And the first item will be 37-21, parking 15 minutes in front of 135 South Broadway. Can I get a motion to send it to Officer Cano and to table document 37-21?
Make a motion.
Okay.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Roll call for document 3721 that was sent to Officer Kano for review and tabled. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
4-0 votes, motion pass.
Next doc is document 38-21, parking 20 minutes at 34-140 West Street, West Side. It has been put in the agenda by Councilor Gonzalez. Councilor Gonzalez, so that's 134-40, okay. Motion to send it to Officer Cano and table the document 38-21.
Make a motion to table. Send it to
Motion.
Officer Khan.
To send it to Officer Cano and table the document.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay. Roll call for document 3821 that was sent to Officer Kano for review and tabled. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz,
Yes.
and Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes,
4-0 votes, motion pass.
thank you. Next document is 39-21, parking 30-minute at Hudbert Place off West Street. Councilor Gonzalez, since we have Officer Cano present, I know that he called my attention about an ordinance that has been putting in place. So if he can elaborate a little bit more about what we should do before we send it to him and make the necessary change now. Good evening, Officer Cano.
Good evening, councilors. Good evening, everyone. I would thank you for the opportunity. I would like to express that I just got word sometime today that there's a possibility that Hubbard Place already has no overnight parking restriction in place. However, I need to confirm that with the city clerk. And so I'm waiting for that document in writing. So that would take care of one part. The other part would be to have no parking, which is the request, to have no parking on the south side of Hubbard Place. That would leave parking on the north side of Hubbard Place. So the question is going to be, okay, at that point, we're going to have parking on the north side. So how is that going to be possible? I was looking at the area, and the suggestion would be to have straight parking as if it had a curb along the way from West Street, halfway through this Hubbard Place. And then from that point on, where the road opens up, you'd have angle parking from there on. So that's the idea. We're
Okay.
trying to take care of three things at the same time. But again, I would like to at least have in something in motion that I know it was discussed with Councilor Gonzalez, these issues, and what was in play was probably putting timed parking. And that's the question here. So I would think that perhaps if we didn't do time parking, it would leave it open for the employees of the businesses to go and park, at least have a space that would take them off of West Street. And it wouldn't restrict them during the day. But during the evening, obviously, they would be parked, but within a certain space. And then there'd be no parking overnight. That would eliminate a lot of the abandoned vehicles that are in that place.
So if I understood correctly, so what we are gonna do is we are gonna be eliminating the time frame, which is 30-minute parking, and just to send it as parking at Harbor Place off West Street, and then you send whatever recommendation you might feel that we need to work with. Is that correct? If we eliminate the 30 minutes parking and just to leave it open, so you can send all three that you just has mentioned it now, and not to be a stick only with 30 minutes parking.
Correct. And I'd like to again go over that with Councilor Gonzalez and just go over these particular issues one more time.
Okay, so Maria, I'm ready to call the motion. So what we are gonna do at this time is just to be a new typing. It's gonna be document 39-21 is gonna be parking at Harbor Place off West Street. And the motion is just to send document 29-21 to Officer Cano and also to table the document.
1 minute, Chair, after you finish.
Yep.
I second the motion.
No, he said that he needs some time just to review.
Okay.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes,
So what we are trying to do in order for him just to send 3 different changes in the area. So we are gonna be eliminating the 30 minutes parking and just to leave it open so that whenever it's gonna be his recommendation based on the study or recommendation, I should say, because this is what he does. So he's gonna be able to send 3 recommendations instead of 1 that is only 30 minutes parking.
yes. No, I just wanted, he doing a wonderful job. He already cleaned that place, that Harbor Place. It was, oh my God. It's clean. Officer Cano, thank you, the community. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you, sir. And I will be in touch with you.
I'm gonna send this the address for you to send flowers to Officer Cano.
Oh, you
I
don't
agree.
you don't get jealous?
So yeah, Maria. Get some of the flowers. Okay,
Thank you.
so Maria, can you read? So the motion is going to be,
To remove the 30 minutes parking requested on the agenda, and just to have it as parking at Harbor Place off West Street.
Yeah.
And
So-
Officer Connor will send out 3 recommendations based on what he said earlier.
okay, so can I hear a motion
Motion to table, send it.
to send it to Officer Cano? Motion to table and send it, document 39-21, for study and to table.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Roll call for document 39-21, that was tabled and sent to Officer Connor for study. Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Maria de la Cruz, Counselor Maria de la Cruz,
She said that she was gonna be disconnected
Oh.
by now, so she probably not.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes,
3 votes to 1 noted. Motion passed.
thank you. Last document is 43-21, home rule petition, illegal nightclub penalty increase. It has been put in the agenda by Mayor Kendris Vasquez. Councilor, we all know that we had been notified. Oh, we have Commissioner Armano to be talking in that item. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Would you like me to say a few words first, or did you?
The floor is all yours, so I wish I would have known that you would have we'd be there.
All right, sorry, last minute addition. I just spoke with the mayor, and I'm here to speak on his behalf and on behalf of several different departments on this issue. So this, just to give you a little bit of history about nightclubs and some of the safety issues. Illegal nightclubs can pose both public safety issues and, of course, public health issues. And we're seeing that not just with COVID-19, but other things like smoking and noise and that type of thing. But in the fire service and in the building department community, illegal nightclubs and dangerous nightclubs have been a huge problem in our history. So we first saw right in the Commonwealth, the Coconut Grove fire in 1942 was one of the deadliest nightclub fires. It killed 492 people. And then you saw some more recent things like the Happy Land Social Club, which was an illegal nightclub that killed 87 people in the Bronx. We saw the Station nightclub right across our border kill 100 people. And most recently, we saw a makeshift nightclub. It was a residential building, a warehouse, something similar that you would see something here in Lawrence. And that was 36 people had died, 35 of which were attending a concert. And again, that was out in the California area. So these problems are what we're looking to prevent. We don't want to see a tragedy like some of the ones we've seen in history here in the city. Ever since the Station nightclub, there's been a lot of regulation with nightclubs in general. Again, it's not just public health issues like noise and smoking and CO poisoning, but other public safety things like gambling and underage drinking and drug use, drinking while under the influence, or driving while under the influence, I should say. Even consumer protection issues pop up with these type of things. In the fire service, again, we've designed, there's been lots of regulation designed to make sure that buildings are safe. So sprinkler systems, the prohibition of combustible foam on walls that are often used to keep noise in, curtains and couches that aren't there, and even chairs that are not the right materials. They tend to go up in flames quickly. Pyrotechnics, and not just fireworks that you saw in something like the Station nightclub, but even things that we see from time to time in our community, like birthday cakes with the little flames coming off the top. All of these things are prohibited to add some more safety to the occupancy. The amount of people, capacity, that's obviously a very important issue, specifically when it comes to adequate egress and having crowd managers, people who are trained and designated to move a crowd in a certain direction, proper ventilation. These are all very important building components. And when you take a building and you bring people into these unsafe buildings, whether it be a warehouse or a basement or whatever the case may be, you have great danger that you're bringing to the patrons of these establishments. Again, for me, one of the most awful things that I've ever seen was the video from the Station nightclub fire in Rhode Island, in which there were 100 people that just didn't have enough room to get out because it wasn't designed as a proper nightclub. So at the end of that fire, you literally saw people who were stacked in the doorway, jammed in the doorway. They couldn't get out, and they were all deceased. And other people were trapped inside. Again, something that we saw in the Happy Land Social Club fire, where there were bodies against the wall in mass confusion. They couldn't see. There was no emergency lighting. There was no ventilation. So very, very serious issues. And unfortunately, I'm not happy to report we've seen a lot of these lately. I know, I'm sure Officer Cano can attest to the same thing. The Lawrence Police Department have been partners with ISD and the Fire Department in battling these issues that have popped up. So with the support of the mayor, this home rule petition is being proposed. It's similar in form to that we've seen with illegal dumpings, something again that Officer Cano is very familiar with. He works with us almost on a daily basis on those issues. And this type of tool would give inspectional services, the Lawrence Police Department, the Lawrence Fire Department, some more teeth and hopefully instill a little bit more fear in the community, in the sense that we don't want this in our community. It's not safe. These are not activities that we support in any way. In fact, we want to make sure that they stay out of our community. We want to protect our children. We want to protect the image of our community. So some of the things that you'll see in this home rule petition, it increases the penalty from $1,000 to up to $10,000 for a person or an entity that's allowing these nightclubs to take place. There's accountability for owners of both the building and the business for allowing these illegalities to take place. And even in some sense, some of these owners have the ability to collect a fee and allow this illegal nightclub to take place as well. And it also gives the city a tool, again, similar to the illegal dumping home rule petition that was brought forward to this council not too long ago. There's both criminal, civil actions in court. And what this home rule petition would add is also an element to allow the departments to have non-criminal violations in the form of ticketing, going through a hearings process, and allow the city to fine these occupancies under that route as well. So the whole premise of this is, again, it's to protect both public safety and public health and give really the city some more teeth to do that. And I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
So we're just gonna open the floor to Officer Khan if he wants to add any other information about what you just said, since you had just mentioned that he's been working very closely with your department. Ricano?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to echo everything that Director Mike Armano has mentioned. I believe that within the city, within the past year, we've seen a tremendous amount of people doing those type of events. We've been trying to be proactive. I think that what he says has a lot of, there's a great need in trying to educate, but as well as take disciplinary actions to hold people accountable. And I think that's a very important part of what we do. We want to be a very safe community, but we want to drive home the message that we want safety first, with people's safety in mind. We all know many people in the community. We really want people to be safe. I can't echo that enough, but we have to do our part, and this is going to help in that process. Thank you, Director Armano, for bringing this issue up, and also the mayor, because that's going to definitely help us in trying to fight this this very difficult situation. People think that, you know, boarding up the windows, looking like the shops are closed. We're going to be looking for these types of environments now more than ever to try and make sure that we hold people accountable. And this is a very important aspect of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Officer Cano. Commissioner Armano, I do have a question. I know that you both has mentioned that we need to hold accountable to someone, but what about if the owner of the property, they're not aware that this is happening? Just let's say one know that disagree that what you're saying, because I think if we need to, and that shouldn't be happened long time ago, because it's like you say, sometimes the people, they think it just because they board the window, you're not gonna notice. But when we say that we are gonna be hold a carnival, are we gonna be ticketing the participants So how this is going to take a place, because this is what I've been hearing. So not that I believe and not necessarily believe that, but let's say that I have a house and someone just decided to host a party, and I don't know. I know that sometimes we have noticed by other tenants that something must going on, but can you open and elaborate a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. First thing, I think it's important to note that these type of investigations are not easy. They take a lot of time sometimes, and there's often many layers about who is responsible. So like any other criminal action or civil action, there's an element of proving that somebody should be accountable, and there's a lot of factors at play. So, having some sort of party in your house is a lot different than opening up a basement or opening up a warehouse and actually selling alcohol and collecting a fee and bringing in a promoter. And the more things that are added to really the situation, the more dangerous it is. Officer Keno talked about boarding up windows. Again, another more dangerous element. We've seen people build walls inside of storefronts. We've seen gambling be added to an element in addition to the nightclub, which not only is not permitted, but it destroys families. We've seen places open up as a hookah or smoking bar. And that, again, not only is it a public health issue, but it's a dangerous issue when there's no proper ventilation. So the more elements we add to the level of danger and the level of negligence and the criminal liability, the more likely we are to push hard and prosecute people. But it's again, it's in the discretion, I think, of the Lawrence Police Department, Inspectional Services. And, again, it depends on where the criminal culpability, what level it rises to. But again, this is used as a tool. It's used as a way to get people into the court system if need be, or it might be something that's simple, just in the form of a ticket. I should note, to maybe more answer your question about the ownership, sometimes there are people that just simply don't know, and that's understandable. And I think the city has some level of forgiveness for an owner that truly didn't know. But at a certain point, to say you didn't know and to be blinded by that's taking it to another level. So we want to know, what didn't you know? Was it someone who snuck in there, someone broke into a house, or was it someone that just basically abandoned their ownership to a level of negligence where they're just letting anything go at that place? And that's not good for the community either.
Thank you. You did answer my, yes, Officer Connor.
Madam Chair, I just want to echo the fact that we rely on the community to be our eyes and ears. And something that always has been echoed from some time now, that if you see something, say something. If you hear something, give the police a call. Inspectional Services have always been hand in hand working together to try and give the best service possible. And I think that it's up to our community to step up. If they see something going on, give us a call. We'll check it out, and we'll do the best we can to try and rectify the situation, but also provide that quality of service that we've known to become. Prior to the COVID, I think that we were in a great path to a great city. I mean, the city won, awards regarding the service that we were providing, alongside with my coworkers and all the departments in the city. It was just a great opportunity to show the kind of strength and leadership we have here in the city. And I think that we need just to continue that as we pass this COVID issue and work through it. And I think that our community is far, it's a great community. So I look forward to doing the best that we can to provide a safe environment for our Laurentians.
Thank you, Officer Cano and Commissioner Armano. This is the type of things that we want to see. Like be understanding what we are looking behind anything that we put it in the agenda in order just to have a topic to talk about it. This is something that is being affecting us for more than a year that we know just because of the COVID. But way before that, I'm sure that we're talking about a problematic that has been going on in the city for the longest time that we don't know. Thank you both. I know that Officer Cano was trying to take to some of the flower that we're going to be sending to Commissioner Armano, just because he opened up and he was very clear what we are looking for in how do we going to be able. One thing that Officer Cano has just mentioned it is that education needs to happen, but we don't have time just to educate someone. And like he said, you know, we are the ears and the eyes of your departments, both departments. If we see something, we should say something. So we cannot be expecting that they're going to be driving into the whole entitled city just to look for something that looks suspicious. I think if we have some kind of responsibility just to kind of make that happen for the safety of our community. It's not looking to find, any constitutions. Is more than that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing it. So I'm just going to open the floor for my colleagues before we call, if they have any question. Councilor Gonzalez.
I know what my beautiful city, Mr. Armano do it, Mr. Cano, and I'm there. I'm supporting them, and like Mr. Cano say, educate plus a disciplinary action. Discipline. You know, the people don't want to do it. We discipline them. Like hey, I repeat that West Street, they doing the job, and they don't do it. I'll be there. Officer Cano be there, tolling cars, and that's what we need to do in a beautiful city. Thank you, Mr. Hermano. Thank you, Mr. Cano. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, well, 2 buckets of flowers. So you're going to be sending now. So I know, Councilor Serena Reyes, I know that we have a meeting with some of the constitution, and that's what I'm speaking on her behalf, because we've been facing this issue. The matter of fact, we have another meeting that we have in place, just to let you know, Commissioner Armano, that we're going to might be inviting you to be part of that. So that can be a channel that we're going to be starting passing this word around, so the people doesn't get surprised that when did this happen? I didn't know about it. So we definitely that we need to hold someone accountable, so we can continue letting things happen. Like I say, Councilor Selena Reyes and myself, we have a meeting and we're trying to put one together. The matter of fact, we spent over half an hour today talking about that. And I told her, without knowing that you was going to be present, that, I think I called you, right? I have to hang up with her that was going to happen. So we're just going to let you know, for both you and Officer Cano, time in advance for you to kind of, come and explain a little bit more what you had been seeing in the past, what you are looking to moving for, and just to kind of protect the citizens. So any other question? I know the Councilor De La Cruz, she's not with us in the meeting. So what am I going to do with this is I'm going to send it with favor recommendation. I think we need to order public hearing because it's money involved, and just to wait for the final draft for the city attorney, Officer Commissioner Armano. Is that something that, right?
Sure. Yep. That's great.
So the motion is to send the item to the city attorney for the final draft. Also to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing pending that draft.
Motion to approve.
Motion has been made by Councilor Selena Reyes,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. All those in favor?
All right.
I have it.
Roll call for document 4321 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation to order public hearing pending the final draft from the city attorney for appropriate legal language. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes, twice.
3-0 votes, motion passed.
Commissioner Armando, thank you for being with us. Always welcome and pleasure to have you.
Thank you, councilors. Have a good evening.
So we're just gonna notify when Councilor Selena Reyes and myself, we're gonna put that together. We was trying to make a conference call today with you just to let you know, without knowing that you was gonna be present, like I has mentioned. Officer Cano was aware, but also he's gonna be attached to that invitation.
Great. Thank you. Be happy to participate.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Last but not least, we have Officer Cano just to pass in the report. So I'm going to check the item that I have in file. I believe that you received the copy of his recommendation via email this afternoon. So the document that I have, correct me if I'm wrong, Officer Cano. Document 3421.
Yes,
Document 1121.
On that 22320, I checked with Teresa because I did not see it in the agenda.
I mean, either.
So I think she mentioned to me that it was probably at the full council. It was kind of like sent back. That was one of them. Councilor Gonzalez. No, not Gonzalez.
Giovanni, Councilor
Rodriguez.
Giovanni.
Yes. The
Okay.
5 Mark Farallon Court or something like that.
No, that's not
Yes.
in our agenda. So we can
Okay,
discuss it out.
And also, document 16119.
161. Thank you, Maria.
Mhm.
161. I don't see 161.
Okay,
It's on there.
No, this is not in here, so I don't know why that has been in your report. But this is not in the ordinance meeting, so it could be has been sent up, and but this is not. So I'm gonna be calling a motion to take document out of table
It's on page 3, Madam Chair.
Oh.
16119
161.
on the May 21st, 2019.
You're
Page
right.
3.
Yes.
No, yes.
What am I gonna do without you? So you're gonna get some flowers too.
No,
Okay.
I'm firing myself.
could I?
So
I'll-
so no, you're not gonna get the flowers, so we're gonna send it to Maria. Maria, be calling all the documents to take it as a block and out of table, okay?
Okay.
Document, motion to take document, out of table, 34-21, 11-21, 383-19, 400-19, and 161-19 out of table and as a block.
Make a motion.
So the motion has been made by Councilor Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes, roll call.
Roll call for documents that were taken out of table and as a block. 3421, 11-21, 383-19, 400-19, and 161-19. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes,
3-0 votes, motion passed.
thank you. Okay, the floor is yours, Officer Cano.
Okay, I'd like to start out with document 11-21.
Okay,
All right, so that's a memo requesting for loading, unloading zone in front of the revolving test kitchen, the RTK, at 40 Hampshire Street for approximately the size of 2 to 3 vehicles for numerous vendors with commercial vehicles, which will be simultaneously using access to the site. This is the idea behind it, that they are going to have food being prepared, food being served, and they need to have a space for the commercial vehicles that are either planning to pick up, drop off, or work at the site in order to prepare food for different vendors, different companies, different restaurants. And it's going to be open per the revolving test kitchen 365 days of the year. So it's going to be approximately, they said 12 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day. So that's a very long day, and they definitely would need the space. I took the area and I took a look at it. There is space enough there that wouldn't interfere with the public transportation where there's traffic going through. There's enough lanes. There's 2 lanes uninterrupted. They would be using the left side lane, which is more of a, it's available to them for this purpose, which is really good. If the council passes this document, the parking should be placed from the southwest corner of Common Street on Hampshire Street, traveling south to a point 44 feet. And then from the southwest corner of Common Street on Hampshire Street, traveling south to a point 64 feet. And then again, from the southwest corner of Common Street on Hampshire Street, traveling south to a point 84 feet. So 3 spaces, 20 feet each. This would place the loading, unloading sign for 2 space, for 3 spaces, basically. I'm sorry, 2 spaces on the west side of Hampshire Street in front of 40 Hampshire Street. So it's 2 spaces, 3 measurements, starting point, ending point, from 44 to 64 to 84.
okay, so so since it is a loading and unloading zone, have you been able to meet with the applicants, or did you talk to the owner who has requesting this?
I spoke to the engineer, city engineer, getting his input in regards to the space, just because of the travel of the vehicles in the area. The other option was to do it on Common Street, but this space is viable. It has a handicap ramp access. It has access to actually for the food to be brought into the building. I didn't speak to the applicants. I didn't think that I would have to at this point, because they wrote a letter that's very elaborate, expressing their concern, expressing the reasons why. And I thought that they were very clear in what they were trying to get across. And I think that this would definitely be a solution for what they're looking for, and it wouldn't impede traffic.
Okay. Okay, so motion to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
A roll call for document 11-21 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation to order public hearing. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
3-0 votes, motion pass.
Thank you. Officer
Okay, the
Cano?
next item. Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item is document 3421. This is a request to have 2 stop signs to be placed on Carlton Street, facing north and southbound traffic as it intersects with Dana Street. This is in South Lawrence, making the intersection a four-way stop. Currently, there are 2 stop signs on Dana Street for the west and eastbound traffic. I went there, I measured, and from the northwest corner of Dana Street on Carlton Street, traveling north to a point 2 feet, placing the stop sign on an existing pole with the street sign attached, and from the southeast corner of Dana Street on Carlton Street, traveling south to a point 10 feet. That would be the next stop sign. I do recommend that these stop signs be placed at this location above for safety for motorists and pedestrians.
Okay, motion to send it with favor recommendation to order public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Motion has
Second.
been properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call for document 34-21 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation and to order public hearing. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good 4-0, 3-0 votes. Motion passed.
Thank you. Officer Cano?
Yes, Madam Chair. The next document is going to be document number 161-19. These are 2 different intersections on the same road. The
Okay,
first one's going to be, the main road is going to be Phillip Street in South Lawrence. So intersecting with Bailey Street. So I'll take that one first.
okay,
Okay, so currently on Phillip Street at Bailey Street, we have 2 stop signs. And it's facing east and west on Phillip Street. So I went there to measure to put the stop signs on Phillip Street in order to, I'm sorry, switch this around. I apologize. I was looking at the wrong drawing just to make sure that my perspective is correct. So on Bailey Street, the stop signs are already, let me read what I have. That way I can. Give me a second. Okay, so again, I apologize for the delay. So requesting a stop sign to be placed on Phillip Street facing north and southbound traffic at the intersection with Bailey and Abbott Street. So the first one's going to be on Phillip Street at Bailey Street. From the northwest corner of Bailey Street on Phillip Street, traveling north to a point 2 feet. That's going to be the stop sign on Bailey Street. Can you give me a second, please? I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay, so on Phillip Street at Bailey Street, we're going to be traveling northwest from the northwest corner of Bailey Street on Phillip Street, 2 feet. And then from the southwest corner of Bailey Street at Phillip Street, traveling south to a point 10 feet. So that's going to put the traffic sign on Phillip Street for north and southbound traffic. There already exist 2 stop signs on Bailey Street, so that would make that intersection a 4-way stop. The
Okay.
second is going to be on Phillip Street at Abbott Street. From the northwest corner of Abbott Street on Phillip Street, traveling north to a point 6 feet. And then from the southwest corner of Abbott Street on Phillip Street, traveling south to a point 10 feet. That will put the signs on Phillip Street, north and south, where there already exist signs for Abbott Street.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I do recommend that these stop signs be placed. It'll help a lot with the issues of motorists and pedestrian traffic. The vehicles do travel, and because Phillip Street is heavily traveled, as well as Bailey Street in the south, I think this would help a lot with accidents and things like that that are in that area.
Okay, yeah, I was able to participate in one of the Lawrence Community Work meeting back on 2019, I believe, and that has been referred twice, just looking for that. I'm glad this is happening, because the day that I was in the meeting, we almost got hit by a car. So that's something that is really needs to happen. So the motion is to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing, document 161-19.
Second.
Motion to approve.
So the motion has been made by Councilor Gonzalez and seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Roll call.
A roll call for document 161-19 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation to order public hearing. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes,
3-0 votes, motion passed.
thank you. Officer Kano.
Thank you. The next item is going to be document number 383-19. This is a request for 15-minute parking. I'm sorry.
I say good. Gonna happen.
Okay. Yes, so 15-minute parking at 333 Lawrence Street, which is known as Rafi Market. It's a corner venue. It's a mini market. A lot of people go there. The business owner and Mr. and Mrs. Ureña de Jaime have been very excited to try and get this done, because they have no parking and it's so busy there. And there's a lot of homes in the area, and they all take up the space. So they have a really tough time for their customers to come in and try and get just them to get 15-minute parking so they can go in and out. So this was a really needed sign. So if the council passes this document, from the northeast corner of Sunset Avenue at Lawrence Street, traveling north to a point 25 feet, and from the northeast corner of Sunset Avenue on Lawrence Street, traveling north to a point 45 feet. This places the 15-minute parking on the east side of Lawrence Street in front of 333 Lawrence Street, known as Rafi Market.
333. Before we call the motion, I just want to correct the address. For some reason, that was the delay on this item. I don't know how I get confused with 187. So Maria,
Yes,
so the correct address is 333
Lawrence Street.
Lawrence Street. Yeah. So motion to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Second.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Motion to approve.
Okay, the motion has been made by Councilor Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Roll call.
Roll call for document 383-19 19 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation to order public hearing, and also made a correction of the address, which is 333 Lawrence Street. Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes, twice. Yes.
3-0 votes, motion passed.
Oh, last but not least, 419.
Last but not least, last one's a charm. 400-19, it's a document requesting 2 stop signs to be placed on Prospect Street facing north and southbound traffic as it intersects with Ferry Street and Knox Street, making this intersection a 4-way stop. This is one of the best places I could think of that you would want a 4-way stop here in the city. Extremely busy, very much traveled. And if the council passes this document, the parking should be placed in the following location: from the northwest corner of Knox Street on Prospect Street, traveling north to a point 5 feet, and the opposite side from the southeast corner of Ferry Street on Prospect Street, traveling south to a point 10 feet. Like I said, again, this is very much needed, and I think that it would definitely provide a lot of safety for the motorists trying to enter from Knox Street or coming down from Ferry Street and just crossing through from Methuen into Lawrence, or Lawrence going into Methuen. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilor. This is on Ferry Street and Prospect Street. So I don't know if you're familiar with that area, but I've been looking for this for the longest time. That is Knox Street and Ferry Street, Prospect Street. So, and even though we have a set of lights very close, I think we need that. We really need that. So the motion is to send it with favor recommendation to order a public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Roll call for document 400-19 that was sent to the full council with favorable recommendation and to order public hearing. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes,
Yes.
3-0 votes, motion passed.
Thank you, Officer Cano. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for the confusion between the two on Phillip Street. It's just 2 at a time, and I just got a little confused there. But I appreciate your patience, and thank you. Have a wonderful evening, all of you councilors and Maria.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor, any document that you wish to take out of table at this time? Here none. Motion to adjourn. Huh?
Second. Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and properly second. All those in favor?
No.
Yeah. Roll call.
Councilor Gonzalez wants to stay.
Roll call for to adjourn at 9:43. Councilor Jorge Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Madam Chair Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Well, now the
Motion to
Officer
adjourn.
Cano left. All ladies here. I can stay to 11, 12.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you, John.
Oh.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Maria.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay.